Hello viewers, good morning. You join me in Coconut Grove, Miami at the Mayfair Hotel, and today we are vlogging. What do I tell you about? Well, I've had some breakfast that was extremely nice. I had quite a good night's sleep. We're sitting down in the courtyard of the hotel. It was built in the 1980s, has a very 80s aesthetic. It has palm trees, quite elaborate masonry. It's sort of a bit overdone, but quite interesting. Oh, I'm wearing silly trousers because we're going on a boat. Have I said that we're going on a boat? Welcome back, viewers. We are at Dinner Key Marina in Florida, where we are about to board and boat. Right, we've arrived at the boat, born to run, registered in Miami. Robert is now clipped onto my shirt, and I know that I made the right choice with my trousers because nobody from Florida has even commented on them. And now, making sure nothing can fall out of my pockets, I step onto the boat, down the wobbly ladder.
Now careful, that's the thing that is not fixed.
Yes, it's not, is it?
No.
Do you want to hand me the vlogger so I can film you coming down the ladder? There, you see, you did the proper boaty going down forwards, but on a wobbly ladder. Well, here I am sitting on a boat. It's a 37-foot Jeannot, 2 petrol engines, total about 900 horsepower. We're not using all that. And we're heading towards Stiltsville. I'll tell you more about this when we get there, but it's well, I say Stiltsville, it's the remains of Stiltsville. It was started in the 1930s, and it's essentially an offshore community on stilts. Why would it be built offshore? I hear you cry as one. Well, it's so that you can get up to no good. We've taken a slight detour on the way to Stiltsville to visit an area known as Nixon's, so called because President Nixon had a house right there. That's not it. It's long gone. That's a much more recent house, but it's built on exactly the same plot, and the whole area is still known as Nixon's. Very desirable. You can have a house here from as little as $25 million. You just have to be very slightly careful about the shallow bits. There's a lot of sandbars. There's a very big one there. You can actually see it. You see the changing colour in the water where it is, right next to where that little fishing boat is. Is that Stiltsville ahead, skipper? This all started in the 1930s when a bloke called Crawfish Eddie built a platform so that he could sell clam chowder and bait to fishermen and moonshine. And a lot of people obviously looked at this and thought, hey, that's a good idea, because if you're more than a mile offshore, which this is, certain laws don't apply, such as gambling and drinking. So the well-to-do came out here and just had these wild parties and basically built Las Vegas with the risk of drowning. And apparently the parties were absolutely mad. There was a certain one, I don't even know if it's one of the survivors, where you could only come if you had an invitation and a boat. It must have been absolutely tremendous. But then it was all pretty much wrecked in the early 90s by hurricanes Betsy and Andrew. And there was a rule, because this became in effect a conservation area, a national park, you couldn't rebuild the houses. If your windows blew in, that was tough luck, and eventually they all fell into disrepair, and a lot of them actually fell down. There were somewhere between 30 and 40 originally, and this is all that survives. And it's quite spooky. When we were motoring along earlier on, I thought I heard the sound of a party. Dun, dun, dun.
Whenever you go out on boats, does it give you PTSD from the Grand Tour special?
No, I like being on boats. the ending of the Grand Tour special where we went across the sea, and I was in that stupid bathtub toy from whenever it was, 1920. That was pretty terrifying, actually. Well, not terrifying, I mean, terrifying. There was nobody with me, I was on my own for a lot of it, and if it had fallen over or snapped in half, I'd have just disappeared into Davy Jones's locker. And people would say, well, it was a shame about James, mate, wasn't it? But his boat snapped in half and he was never seen again. They're not particularly grand houses, they're not massive structures, and they're largely made of wooden, clapperboard and so on. But look at this one. If you can just mentally repaint that, fill it with booze and drape Marilyn Monroe on it and so on, you've got party time. I imagine it was quite fantastic. And then whilst you were there, maybe a bit of a storm would blow up and oh no, you'd be stuck. I mean, by the time this was built, or by the time they started building this, Prohibition was coming to an end, but there was still the issue of moonshine, illicit homemade alcohol and that sort of thing. And when you look at it, it makes you realise what enormous lengths people will go to just to get a drink. And on that note, since we're here, and it's 20 to 11, I think I'll have a James Gin and Tonic. Because that's what this place is all about. Trebles all round. I've decided to have an Asian parsnip Navy strength with Fever Tree Mediterranean tonic water since we're at sea. And we've divvied up responsibilities on this. Lucy Brown, or Miss Brown as she's known in our hotel, is going to make the gin and tonic and I'm going to sit here. For this trip, Miss Brown has paired her pasty legs with some sporting blue shorts and a cheeky nautical themed top. Oh, careful. It's dangerous, that stuff.
Like lime or
lemon? I think I'll go for lime, because it's good for scurvy. Quite a lot of you have written into our website and said, can I have James Gin and Tonic on a boat? Well, let's find out, because to be honest, I haven't tried that yet. So in a moment, I'll be able to give you the definitive answer. I say in a moment, at the rate we're going, the remainder of Stiltsville will have fallen into the sea by the time this is ready. Beautifully done, thank you very, very much, bosun. So, here we are, we're at sea, we're on a boat, this is a James Gin and Tonic. Yes, you absolutely can. Update viewers, we're now going very slowly into Key Biscayne, where we're going to have an extremely agreeable seafood lunch. I'm doing my best to get all the facts right on this vlog, but I know that the comments are going to be entirely about my trousers. Aren't they great? We've now stopped at a very agreeable shack-style harbour-side restaurant called The Menu, which serves a great deal of seafood. Well, it serves everything, actually. All sorts of appetizers, soups, black bean soup, salads, burgers, sandwiches, pasta, meats and poultry, whole fish, paellas. I'm going to have a lobster with chips. Well, my lobster with shrimp and fries was delicious. I'm having a beer to go, to take away in our language. We're heading back to the boat. The boat is registered in America. We're off the coast of Florida. The skipper is from Mexico, although his name is French and his grandparents, I think, were from Poland. This shirt is from Japan. Lucy and Eve are from Planet Ubabadoo. We are drinking English gin, and these snacks are Cuban. So this is a very multicultural event. And this is a croquetos with ham and cheese in it, and it's extremely tasty. Hello viewers, this is what's known as a vlog update. We're on our way to Total Wine to a signing, which is quite good really because I get to meet lots of interesting people who tell me strange stories and sometimes bring me unusual gifts. But at the moment, guess what? We're stuck in traffic. It's a while since I've been here. I think the last time, well, I came with the car show twice. Once with all of us, and I can't remember why, and then I came by myself to drive the Fisker Karma, if you remember that car, the parallel hybrid car, a little bit like Jeff had been, in fact. And I came here to drive it with Brian Johnson of AC/DC. But it's years ago. I'm going to say it's 5 years ago, but it's always more than you think, so it's probably 10 years ago. Here we are at Total Wine. This is a gin and tonic. This is Rob at the microphone, and we're approaching the desk where I sit and sign bottles of gin. That's it. Oh, it's here. Well, there's quite a bit of stuff on YouTube and on podcasts and so on about the stresses and the difficulties of being an executive in the business world and being a good corporate citizen and all that sort of stuff. But I have to say that being an executive, if that's what I am, of a gin business really isn't that bad, because today I've been out on a boat trip. I looked at some historical stuff at Stiltsville, and then I had a lobster for lunch, which I like. I had a beer, and then I've come here and I've met a lot of interesting people and heard their stories about their dune buggies and their gin drinking habits, and now I'm going to go and have an agreeable supper and go to bed. What's the catch?